The Book of Exodus, are you ready? The Book of Exodus is a cornerstone of faith that tells the story of God's deliverance of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery. Exodus is the second book of the Bible and starts with the Israelites living in Egypt. It's a tale of oppression against Israel, divine intervention, and the birth of a leader who would change their destiny forever. Israel's oppression in Egypt, Exodus 1 verse 14 through 18, set the stage for Israel's affliction. A new king, who did not know about Joseph, came to power in Egypt. This Pharaoh saw the growing population of Israelites as a threat and subjected them to brutal slavery. Despite their suffering, the Israelites continued to multiply. Pharaoh's cruelty didn't end there. In Exodus 1:25-22, he commanded the Hebrew midwives to kill all newborn Hebrew boys. But the midwives, fearing God, disobeyed. When Pharaoh realized this, he ordered every Hebrew male infant to be thrown into the Nile. The birth and calling of Moses in Exodus 2 verses 1 through 10 tells the miraculous story of his birth and survival. Born to a Levite family, Moses was hidden for 3 months. When his mother could no longer hide him, she set him adrift in a basket on the Nile. Pharaoh's daughter discovered him and raised him as her own. Exodus 2:11-25. Moses grew up with a dual identity. He was Hebrew by birth and Egyptian by upbringing. Moses grew in favor while living within the ruling class, but was dismayed at the oppression of his people. Moses was enraged, and after killing an Egyptian who mistreated an Israelite, fled to the land of Midian. Fast forward to Exodus 3:1-10, where Moses encounters God in the burning bush. After encountering God, Moses returns to Egypt after 40 years. Exodus 4:1-17. God gives Moses signs, including the staff that turns into a snake. With Aaron as his spokesman, he confronts Pharaoh and demands the release of the Israelites. Exodus 5:1-21. Despite Pharaoh's initial refusal, God sends 10 plagues upon Egypt, demonstrating his power and compelling Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. The first plague turns the Nile's waters into blood, a vivid display of divine power. Pharaoh's heart remains hardened. Then come the plagues of frogs, gnats, and flies, each one intensifying Egypt's suffering, yet not breaking Pharaoh's resolve. Next, God strikes the Egyptian livestock with a deadly disease, followed by painful boils that afflict humans and animals alike. A devastating hailstorm destroys crops and property, and locusts consume whatever remains. Darkness envelops Egypt for 3 days, a foreboding sign of the final plague to come. The 10th and final plague is the death of the firstborn sons of Egypt. This ultimate act of divine judgment breaks Pharaoh's resistance, and he finally relents. The Israelites, having marked their doorposts with lamb's blood to be spared from this last plague, prepare to leave in haste. This is the Passover in Exodus 12:1-28. The Exodus begins. Exodus 12:37 states that about 600,000 men on foot left Egypt, besides women and children, implying a total population of potentially 2 to 3 million Israelites, set out on their journey to the Promised Land, led by Moses and guided by God's presence in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Pharaoh pursues Israel to the Red Sea, Exodus 14:1-31. The passage through the Red Sea presents a barrier. As they step onto the shores, Moses steps into the water, the Red Sea parts. A new chapter in their history unfolds, one to be filled with trials, faith, and the promise of a land flowing with milk and honey. The journey through the wilderness awaits, but for now, the Israelites rejoice in their newfound freedom. Miracles abound. Bitter water at Marah made sweet in Exodus 15:22-27. Despite their complaining, the Israelites are provided daily manna and quail. Exodus 16:1-36. Then water springs from the rock at Rephidim. Exodus 17:1-7. Then God gives them victory over Amalek. Exodus 17:8-16. Arrival at Mount Sinai. Exodus 19:1-25. 3 months after their miraculous escape from Egypt, the Israelites arrive at Mount Sinai, a sacred mountain steeped in divine significance. Here, God calls Moses to ascend the mountain, initiating a profound encounter that will shape the future of the Israelite nation. Moses, acting as a mediator, prepares the people for this divine meeting, emphasizing the sanctity of the moment. Exodus 20:2-17. The 10 Commandments are given. On the third day, amidst thunder, lightning, and the sound of a trumpet, God descends upon Mount Sinai. From the thick cloud, God speaks directly to the people, delivering the 10 Commandments. These commandments, etched in stone, form the bedrock of Israelite law and their covenant relationship with God. The Book of the Covenant, Exodus 21:1-23:33. Following the 10 Commandments, God provides Moses with additional laws and guidelines, collectively known as the Book of the Covenant. They are designed to ensure a just and harmonious society, reflecting God's holiness and righteousness. Confirmation of the Covenant, Exodus 24:1-8. With the laws in place, Moses descends the mountain and reads the Book of the Covenant to the people. In a unified voice, they commit to obeying God's laws, sealing their pledge with the words, "All that the Lord has spoken we will do, and we will be obedient." To ratify this covenant, Moses performs a sacrificial ceremony, sprinkling the blood of the offerings on the altar and the people, symbolizing their purification and consecration to God. This moment at Mount Sinai marks a pivotal point in the Israelite journey, transforming them from a group of liberated slaves into a nation bound by divine law and covenant. The golden calf and God's mercy. Exodus 32:34. Israel worships the golden calf. Exodus 32:1-29. As Moses lingers on Mount Sinai, receiving divine instructions, the Israelites grow restless. In their impatience, they demand Aaron to create a tangible God to lead them. Yielding to their pressure, Aaron crafts a golden calf from their jewelry. The people rejoice, offering sacrifices and engaging in revelry, attributing their deliverance from Egypt to this idol. Moses intercedes for the people, Exodus 32:30-35. God, witnessing their idolatry, expresses his wrath, threatening to annihilate the Israelites. Moses, descending the mountain with the stone tablets, is devastated by the sight of the golden calf. He shatters the tablets in anger and confronts Aaron and the people. Yet amid this turmoil, Moses ascends the mountain again, pleading for God's mercy. He implores God to forgive their transgression, even offering his own life in exchange for theirs. God renews the covenant. Exodus 34:1-35. Moved by Moses' intercession, God instructs him to carve 2 new stone tablets. God descends once more, proclaiming his name and attributes: merciful, gracious, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness. He renews the covenant, emphasizing his laws and commandments. Moses returns to the people, his face radiant from the divine encounter, symbolizing the restored relationship between God and Israel. Despite their transgression, God's willingness to renew the covenant underscores his enduring commitment to his people. Instructions for the tabernacle, Exodus 25:1-31-18. Following the renewal of the covenant, God provides Moses with detailed instructions for constructing the tabernacle. This sacred dwelling is to be a portable sanctuary where God will reside among his people. Every element, from the Ark of the Covenant to the altar and the priestly garments, is meticulously described. These instructions emphasize the importance of holiness, craftsmanship, and the community's collective effort to create a space worthy of the divine presence. The tabernacle is built and completed, Exodus 35:1-40-33. With divine blueprints in hand, Moses relays God's commands to the Israelites. The people respond with an outpouring of generosity, contributing gold, silver, fabrics, and other materials. Skilled artisans, endowed with wisdom and creativity by God, bring the tabernacle to life. The community's unity and dedication manifest in the completion of this magnificent structure, signifying their commitment to God and his covenant. God's glory fills the tabernacle, Exodus 40:34-38. Upon the tabernacle's completion, a cloud descends, and God's glory fills the sanctuary. This divine presence is a visible and powerful affirmation of God's dwelling among his people. The cloud guides the Israelites on their journey, lifting when it is time to move and settling when it is time to camp. The construction of the tabernacle and the indwelling of God's glory mark a profound moment in Israel's history. It symbolizes God's desire to be near His people and their reciprocal dedication to maintaining a holy space for Him. This sacred bond, forged through the tabernacle, illustrates the enduring relationship between God and His chosen people, grounded in mutual faithfulness and reverence. As we finish the journey through the book of Exodus, these passages highlight the major events and theological themes that have shaped the faith of millions. From the miraculous deliverance from Egypt to the sacred covenant at Mount Sinai, from the divine judgments through the plagues to the construction of the tabernacle, every moment is a testament to God's power, faithfulness, and abiding presence with His people. The story of Exodus is not just ancient history. It is a timeless narrative that continues to inspire and guide us today. The covenant at Sinai and the instructions for the tabernacle show us the significance of living a life dedicated to holiness and reverence. They highlight the importance of creating spaces, both physical and spiritual, where God's presence can dwell among us. As we reflect on these timeless lessons, let us carry forward the spirit of Exodus in our hearts, embracing the call to faithfulness, belief in the supernatural, and devotion to God. Thank you for watching The Non-Prophet. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.